Welcome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
You're listening to The Muddy Roofs.
Hey, horn.
This is Muddy Roots.
Hit that like button.
You know what time it is. What time?
Let's take a cup.
Welcome back to another episode. As you can see, Ryan's not here, but we do have a special guest. This man to my left, he is the one, the only, the biggest man on the planet. Hulk is the only one. Hulk is the only one who's afraid of him. No man can stop him. Some call him a bodybuilder.
Meatball?
Some call him a god. Most call him a friend. And Vil only calls him to mix. He is the one, the only, Kyson Sertonio.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Kyson Sertonio?
Yes, Tonio.
Let's take a cook.
Didn't know that.
All right, Kyson, go ahead and tell us, your name, what you do, your social security, all that stuff, how much you're getting on your taxes, things like that. Small things, you know what I'm saying?
It's very small things. My name is Kyson. Born and raised in St. George.
Ooh.
Left for a couple months. I knocked doors at Summer Sales. But I went over to Pineview. That's where in high school. 23 years old. Young. Made of steel, sex appeal kind of guy.
Oh, man, sex appeal. We're cutting that out, guys.
Yeah, you're recently engaged, right?
Sex appeal only
That's
to
crazy.
your
That's
fiance.
Cut that one out, please.
Oh, man. Pineview, Circle Black.
Circle Black, yes.
Yes,
Go Panthers,
sir.
please.
Yeah.
Go Panthers, please.
So Kyson and I think we met through mixing. All of us met through mixing.
Mm-hmm.
You're friends with Rob's little brother, Ruben.
Yes, little Ruben.
Ruben's.
Little Ruben.
Yeah.
Everyone's little to you. We get it. Yes, your pecs are massive.
But so yeah, we brought you on. I was texting you. You kind of want to talk about some of your business adventures. So you've recently started a business. Tell us a little bit about it. You can drop it a little bit. So
Yeah, so about 7 months ago, I think it was. My fiance, she's like, you should get into the rain gutter business. My dad ran it for a long time. I said, I don't really know about it. Like, I'm trying to open a gym. That was the goal. Like, I wanted to open a gym. I wanted to do recovery, and I wanted to start that kind of business. Well, then she's like, you should do this. You can make this amount of money and open it by yourself. Like, you don't need the investors. You don't need the loans. Like, you know what? Like, I'll talk to your dad. Like, we'll see what we'll do. And so I got into it. He started talking to me more about it. And so I started just running like the rain gutter business, and we install rain gutters, we repair rain gutters, and just fix them all up, residential, commercial. But we also just opened a branch doing leaf screens. And so that's been something that we've been working on. So leaf screens go on top of the rain gutters, and they keep your leaves, your debris. They just keep your gutters from clogging, save your gutters over time, and just overall make them better. Longevity, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing the gutters for about 7 months, like I was saying. Leaf screens is new. I've done a few of them. I know Kirsty's brother did them for a little bit when COVID was going through. And he's kind of one introducing them and got them going. He sadly passed away a year and a half ago.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so he passed away, and the business kind of just sat because her dad retired from the business about 3 years ago. Brother took over. He's booming with business. He ended up passing away, sadly. And I was able to take it on, kind of starting all over again, finding new clientele, finding new business, and learning the trade, basically. And thank goodness her dad stepped in and basically taught me how to do most of it. And so now it's like we're running both partnerships. As far as he's teaching me, I'm getting jobs. We're both marketing. And so it's been a big benefit as far as like how the rain gutters are coming along.
Oh man.
That is crazy. That's super sad that your brother-in-law passed away.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
Yeah. You spoke about your business. What's your company name?
So it's the rain gutter part. It's the leaf screen. Excuse me.
It's a
Rain gutter specialist.
rain gutter
Rain gutter
specialist.
Yes, rain gutter specialist, and the leaf screens is we call ourselves the leaf sifters. So 2 different branches. We don't want to combine them. So we have part of the gutters. We can offer the leaf screens, but we can also shoot after business and marketing through the leaf sifters. And so that's what this past week I've been trying to put together marketing. Her dad's been helping me so we can market that side of the business because a lot of people have rain gutters. New construction, that's the people who are getting the most rain gutters, but the leaf screens, hardly anyone has them. And really the only place you hear them is nationwide commercials. Not many people do them around here in town. And so we wanted to target that area hard and bring that to St. George.
That's dope. Because, yeah, that's the name of the game with business is you got to find a need and fulfill it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a couple things I wanted to go through today. I mean, we were talking about a lot of questions. We're going to go through pros and cons of owning a business versus being a W-2 employee, starting up your business and how that whole thing went. I mean, we understand that it wasn't, I mean, you had the company name, but you still brought it back from zero. And then just the goals for your rain gutter business, where you kind of see it and where we're going from there.
Yeah.
So opening up a little bit is everybody thinks owning a business is easy. Like a lot of people, especially W-2 people who are at the bottom, they're like, man, if I could just be the owner, it looks so easy.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to talk about pros and cons because there's a lot of pros. There's also a lot of cons. How do you feel like your schedule has been impacted doing this? Do you feel more or less busy?
10 times busier. Like you're saying, every W-2 person says, if I was the boss, I would be booming. Well, there's a reason you're not a boss. It's because you don't have the work ethic to put in the hours to run a business. It's not like you work 8 hours of your business and go home and hang out and do your thing. No, you're working 8 hours. You're working 10 hours, 12, 18 hours constantly with your business, whether you're working on it, thinking about how to work on it, or the marketing side of how to make your business better. But for me, I go to bed sleeping about how I can make my business better. Like it takes the sleep away from me because I'm either thinking about how to market better, the jobs the next day, like what things to do. So overall, you work a lot more. It's not easier, and you got to put a lot more time to be able to build a successful business.
Well, yeah, because it's a lot more than just the operation side of it, right? Like you keep saying marketing and stuff like that. Like most people don't know what that means.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then with that as well, like warranty is a thing. And so hopefully you never have to deal with this. But like if some storm happened and rain gutter got ripped off, I mean, you're not necessarily super essential at that time, but I've met plumbers and stuff where they get called out to a job 3 a.m. because it's down.
Yeah.
And you have to get it fixed then and there. So yeah. The next one I wanted to talk about was your mental load. How has that been impacted? Because again, people think, oh, it's just easy. You just manage a few people, go golfing to market, and call it good. But obviously, it's a lot different than that. So, how has your mental capacity, mental load been?
It's stressful. Like it's a lot more than like I was saying about the W-2. Like you're constantly thinking about it. You don't have someone over your head with the funds to back you. So it's more of like, if I mess up, this is going on me. So you're constantly thinking about what you need to order as far as rain gutters go, what you need to order, how you need to install it, the marketing side, what you got to do there. Like it's constant thought process. It's a lot of stress on your plate because you're trying to handle your own business. You have no one to rely on but yourself within the business. And so it's like something goes wrong, it's on you. Like you're saying, plumbing, if something gets ripped off, they give you a call, you got to go take care of it. It's all like, it's always on your mind. It's very, very stressful to handle a business. Just as much work as you put in, you're thinking about it just as much and how to do it. So mental load, it adds a ton.
So going into that mental load, do you have any employees or no?
So I don't have any employees, no. Me and her dad, we work more of like a partnership. Like I'm a subcontractor, he's his own contractor. And he'll come and help me with the jobs I need help with. Like I did one an hour before this. I started this morning. And it was a bigger job. So we do a 5-inch residential job like a residential gutter and then a 6-inch commercial gutter. And the 6-inch is a lot bigger of a gutter, and we had to go up 2 stories. So that's something I can't do by myself. And so he come out here, he'll help me and basically teach me on the job. And so as of right now, where business goes, I don't need an employee because I can go out and do a job by myself in a few hours, if not a little longer. Now, when we get into contractors and get into the new homes and we get more business coming in, that's when we'll be bringing like employees on. 1, 2 is the goal, 3, 4. Eventually have a whole crew underneath me to show them how to do it and get the jobs done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right now it's just us. There is another person who does them with us. We'll call him every so often to come help us if we have like a really like massive job, 250 square feet probably, and we'll bring him in to like assist us to get the job done. But usually it's just me and her dad, or it's just me usually.
Okay. I did notice you said you're a subcontractor. So does that mean like you kind of have your own entity outside of the rain gutter business? Like you have your own entity where he then sends you work and then you bill him. He bills the customers, right?
So backtrack. When I said subcontract, I probably should use a different word. We're both
Partners or?
I would say partners. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say he subcontracts me or I subcontract him. We're just partners in the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's major to have your father-in-law be able to teach you like that.
Yeah, no, it's huge, and it kind of meant a lot more starting the business up, and this is what's kind of motivated me to stick out more, is because he retired 3 years ago and said he was never coming back. And it gets into a little bit more emotional as his son took over, his firstborn, and when he passed away, with him coming back, it kind of reminds him of his son a lot, like doing guys, that was their thing. They did it back and forth together, and they worked together. And so with him coming back after he said he wasn't going to jump back into it, like that meant a lot to me and motivated me. Like I need to get after this and get it done because he's here to help me when at first he didn't want to. Not at first like with me, but originally he wasn't going to get back into the business.
Yeah.
And so with him doing that, like it meant a lot. It's like give me even more fire under my butt to get up and get after it.
Well, yeah, at that point, it's way more than just business. It's like now kind of emotional for him and like, and doing all that. That's dope though.
Yeah. So it's huge. And it's backtrack on that. Like it meant a lot to me and the family, like knowing that there's someone else in the family taking the business and running in honor of her brother and for the dad to live on their legacies.
Sure, yeah. On the flip side of that, where the business was kind of stagnant and it was just kind of sitting there for a while, for you to take it over, it's got to be almost in a sense you carrying on the hard work that he's put into it and pushing that through, so that not that it was for nothing, but you know what I mean, like just so that it's out there and all his work can show.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's tight. So going back into pros and cons for the business. So now you are your own boss. A lot of people think, oh man, it sounds so fun to be your own boss. How has that actually been? So, because a lot of people think, oh, being your own boss is fun. You get all the freedom to do everything. But then you also don't have, I mean, I guess you still have your father-in-law, but most people don't have someone to tell them, hey, do this, do this, do this. You have to come up with everything by yourself. How has that been?
It's been good. Like that's the biggest pro is no one tells me what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And at my other job, I went to work, I got a list of things to do, and I got it done. Well, now my job, like it's on me, and this not necessarily a con, but it's like it's up to me of how much I'm gonna get paid on, how much work I'm gonna put in. Like it's no longer I'm gonna get a paycheck every 2 weeks. It's if I don't get a job done, I'm not gonna get my money.
Right.
And if I mess a job up, that comes out of my pocket. It doesn't come out of anyone else. It's my boss. Like today, for instance, I almost completed the job, but I missed a few things. And that's the part of learning the business of getting your materials, getting all this and that. That's the part that you're constantly thinking about. So that's the con of like, now that I messed up, I got to go back again, take more money out of the bid I originally placed. So I'm going to lose a little bit more money and I got to go do it again. So like, that's kind of, I have no one to back me up.
Yeah.
But the huge pro is no one can tell me what to do and how to do it. It's all on my hands of how much money I'm going to make for however long I want to make it.
Yeah. Well, everyone's going to get dumb. They call it dumb tax, where you mess up a couple times and you learn the processes of the business and all that.
Yeah, it's the process of starting up your own business. You're going to learn. And as you learn from these mistakes, you're going to grow from them and hopefully not make them again.
Yeah.
But
Did you always have an entrepreneur mindset, or is that new? Did you have role models? Like, where's that come from?
So no, I never had any entrepreneur mindset. Through high school, I wanted to be in the army. Like I wanted to be infantry. I wanted to run and gun. I was like, that's gonna be me. After high school, I got convinced into doing summer cells, and I was like, yeah, sure. Like my buddy was like, I'll go out there and do this for you. And we did that. Didn't have the mindset to go and knock doors to do any of that. Like I wasn't motivated for it. I wanted that job. I still wanted the military.
Yeah.
And so as time went on, it slowly grew me. But there was a hard point in my life, a hard lesson I had to learn. And after this lesson, I ran into my mentor, and we talked, and he provided me with the tools that I needed to grow that mindset. It was always there. I just didn't know how to do it or what to do with it. And with him being there, kind of guiding me, teaching the ways about business. Like her dad's taught me the way about the gutter business, but he's taught me the mindset of an entrepreneur and growing throughout that. And so that's kind of where that's coming. It's been roughly the last 3 years that's been there, that I've wanted to, like, I need to own a business if I want to get out there. Because my whole life, my family, my grandpa owned a business, but by the time I was young, he had gone bankrupt in 2008. Yeah. So he went bankrupt in 2008. And from there, I was always taught, go to school, go to college, get a degree, and get a job that's going to pay you. Make sure you get that money every single week. And that's how you should live your life. Like, I was never taught, like, go put the work in and make your own business and make your own living.
Yeah.
And build your own future.
Gosh, that's crazy though. So you said you have a mentor. Have you always had a mentor? Is that a new thing? Have you had it for the last 10 years? What?
No. So 3 years ago, I was going to see my friend. And this is a guy I've known my whole entire life. And we kind of separated because he was a few years older than me. He's probably 26. You guys might know him, Kalen Williams.
Oh, I do know Caleb.
Yes. And so I was going to my friend's house, and he was going on a date with my friend. And I came around the corner and scared him. And I thought it was just my friend, and it wasn't. And we came in contact. We went and started working out. And then we started to just talk and hang out more. Well, he was already on the business path, the entrepreneur path of trying to grow his own businesses and his own life. And through there, he kind of took me along the process, was teaching me everything that he knew and everything that his mentors was teaching him. And so for the last 3 years, for probably from 2020 to 2022, we would meet one to three times a week, and we would just sit there and chit chat about life, mindsets, business. And through that process, we were doing more and more. This last year, it slowed down a little bit. He ended up moving out to Virginia. And so now we get on a call every so often to talk and go over life and business prospect or aspect. And so that's kind of where that's come. So it's only been the last 3 years that I've had this mentor teaching me.
That's tight though. Like, one thing I think that's cool is that you guys are talking more than just business. You're talking about life and stuff like that. Because what a lot of people don't realize is if your personal life is a mess, it is very hard to run a business.
Yep.
So I think it's dope. You guys are like talking about those things. Like, hey, how's your fiance? How's everybody else? Like, how's your household look? Is everything good? Because I think that's a huge part.
Yeah, it's major. As far as getting on top of your business, like, you need to be 100% in your life, your mindset, and like your business world. Like, you need to be working hard at all those things, not just your business. Because working hard in your personal life, your own personal mindset, and you is gonna have an effect on your business and the way you work at that.
Another question I had for you is, I've heard this a lot when I'm in the construction world. Like, I'll have guys who are great installers and they know how to run a crew. They know how to like manage a couple guys, manage their materials for that house. And they say, dude, I should just start my own company. I think I could do it. What is the difference and the pros or cons between being able to run a job and run a couple guys versus running an entire company, working on the marketing, working on the sales, writing up the estimates and all that kind of stuff? How has that been?
It's 100% different. Running with a crew, as I did at like my other job, like you said, you're in charge of doing the materials. You got your list and you're completing it. You're telling people what to do. Sure, you can handle that part of taking the materials and doing that. Business, you got to handle your funds, your receipts, your taxes, talking to the people, having good communication skills with your either your builders, the residents that you're working on, your customers.
Yep.
Like there's more than just ordering materials. It's the marketing side, like you said. No, sure you can go put some concrete down. You can get your concrete bags, but how do you advertise that?
Yeah.
How do you go out there and show that this is my business and you should pick me for this reason?
Yeah.
It's like not many people can do it. And take that back. Many people can do it. Many people don't have the mindset to do it.
Mindset is crazy. And I actually want to dive into that here in a second, talking about starting up a business. But let's take a cup real quick. So I want to get onto that mindset real quick, though. Have you guys ever tried summer sales?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was your experience?
Shitty. I hated it. I mean, I liked the money, but I mean, we were doing it out in the East Coast, and so we were out in like Louisiana.
What were you selling?
So we did forgot, like Direct One. So if it was the year of Direct TV that was cheaper, we would knock on doors that people had Dish and then switch them over to Direct TV. 3 years after that, we do the same thing but to Dish. So we were working for both Direct TV and Dish. But like I said, like I think my first time going out summer sales, I went out to Florida, and it was like an hour away from the Magic Stadium. And bro, I mean, I've heard of people just like saying, yeah, there's like racist people out there, da da da. But I mean, back then when I was like younger, I thought it was just like
In the 90s?
you know how, like you know how like people would always like not really like joke about it, but like they're not serious either. So I thought it was like that until I ran into my very first dude that was like, he did not like any skin color of anything that was like not white. So I knocked on this house, and as soon as he opened up the house, tank top, shorts on, and in the back, dude, I seen so much Confederate flags. And this dude like opens up the door, and like he had one of those doors that was just like they had the latch, and so like he like creaked it open, closed it. I heard him take off the latch, and then all I heard was, and I was like, oh dude, I can't do this. And he's like, he came out here, just started giving me slurs and shit like that, and I was just like, oh, it's like that. So I leave his house, knock on the other door, same thing, knock on the other door. So it was the whole neighborhood. And so I didn't make one sale out there. Told my manager, and then he put me on a different neighborhood, and it was a lot better. But I mean, it was just like I didn't like the fact of hearing like no, we're good, da 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 da. Like I didn't like that, and so I did that for about 6-7 months, and then I started thinking about like my family. Dude, I was like away for so long. Like, that was really the first time I've ever been away from my family. And so I started getting homesick. So maybe in like a year and a half of doing it, I just like looked at my manager. I was like, yeah, I'm going back there. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough to hear no after no.
I
after
hated
no,
it, dude. I hated it. I had like, in one neighborhood, I had maybe 6 all in a row.
See, and that, because I've done it too, and it sucks, dude. You're walking house to house, and if you get, because there's times, dude, you get 15, 20 no's in a row, and
Yeah.
it's like, holy sheesh. Even like with what I do now with doing estimating for a construction company, I mean, your close percentage is supposed to be about 50%, because if you know it's higher than that, that means you're probably priced too low. If it's lower than that, then you got to figure something else out, you know?
Yeah.
So you get told no so much.
Living
And
in a life of rejection.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of, we're about to dive into the mindset. Like that's where it has to be, is you got to just know who you are and know it's a statistics game. You know, well, we only close 50% or we close 20% or whatever. So you know you're going to get 8 no's before you get a yes or whatever. Yeah. So diving back into the mindset stuff, your mindset has obviously changed. You've been saying that a lot.
Yep.
What is some of the things that has changed, or how has it changed in starting a business?
As far as my mindset has changed from like starting the business, for me, it kind of like I've already had like the mindset of like the hard worker, like I'm gonna get somewhere. Like the consistency of me constantly doing something to be better is gonna get me somewhere. Now getting into the business, I've become hungry for it. Like, and once I first got
Yeah.
that first paycheck, I was like, oh, like this is nice. Like, I want another one of these. I want another, and I want another, and I want another.
Yeah.
It's like, realistically, it's like heroin. You get that first little bit of cash, and you want another. Like, it becomes addicting, really addicting. And so,
Yeah.
like, I've gotten the mindset of like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get where I need to get. And at first I was like, I'm gonna make all this business. I'm gonna get up and going. Like, there's gonna be ton of like jobs. Everything's gonna be booming. I'm gonna have a ton of cash at the beginning.
Yeah.
4 months into, I'm like, where's all the money at? In regards, we were doing like that start. We did a few homes a month, and it went to like 1 home a month, and then 0 homes 1 month. And I'm like, it's supposed to be booming right now. Like, I heard like how like financially set it got her dad. Like, he had business booming. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing it correctly? And I'm like, like, just keep doing your thing, keep doing your thing. And I was a little disappointed at first, not like super bad, but I'm like, I keep doing it. And like with that mindset of like, just like keep on going, like just stay consistent. My girl say all the time, she read a book, it's called The Slight Edge. I don't know if you have any of you ever read it. But it's like small steps every single day is going to like get you there. And that's basically what I did. I just kept working at my thing. I took care of I went out, reached out to my resources, and every day I just tried to do something better for my business, and constantly have been working at it. And now it's at the point where I'm getting 1 home a week, 2 homes a week. And so it's like slowly growing. So it's, for my mindset, it's just continuous work. Like, continue to just work at the job. Like, stay hungry for it.
That's huge though. Like, working every single day will make, if you get 1% better every day, you're 3 times better by the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? So, and we've witnessed that with our podcast.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna say, but like with the comparison game, the comparison game will kill your mindset a whole. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
Like you said that you saw your father-in-law, he was doing this and he was making this. Like where am I? Like I want to do that, but it depends on the person, because it could also like boost your mindset, because like you're just like, oh, he made this in 1 year. I'm gonna start doing that, and then once you do that, like you said, it's like a domino effect. I'm gonna want more. I want bigger.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're comparing. So like if you're comparing like, oh, by the time your father-in-law was this far in, he was already having 4 or 5 houses a week, and it's like, okay, that can be a little bit misleading, or I guess upsetting to a point where you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. But if you're looking at it as a point of like, okay, what was he doing to get those houses? Because that's what I need to be doing. And so you're comparing kind of almost like a strategic way that can boost even your mentality or the way you operate.
Yeah. And it just comes down to consistency of like you're saying, that comparing those things, but just stay consistent in what you're doing. Like in your podcast, you're doing the gym, like everything is just about consistency, constantly working at what you want.
Yeah.
Even if it's something small as writing an email and setting in for like one of your jobs, or like knocking a door and giving out a flyer. Like, you're doing something small every single day to become better at what you want.
Yeah.
And eventually, over that time of the hard work and putting that in, you're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
You touched on something just barely where consistency comes into play. You being your own boss, you're not having someone to tell you to wake up at this certain time, to reach out, to market and things like that. So your self-discipline has to be immaculate, right?
Yeah, most definitely it has to be there, because I could have this, like I was saying with my mentor, he gave me the tools to get where I needed to get. My father-in-law gave me the tools for this business to get where I needed to get. But if I don't have the discipline to go out and find the jobs and get this and get that, and when one comes up, going out and doing it as soon as I get the job, like, you're not going to get anything. You can have the tools, but you have to have the work ethic and the discipline to constantly go after it. Because if that's not there, then you're going to work a 9 to 5 every day.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's easy to sleep in, right? Because, again, your schedule, you make it. So you can literally say, well, I don't want to start my jobs until noon, and then you sleep until 10 or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's like, it's weekends too. It's like Saturday today, of course I want to sleep in. I want to go do stuff with my family. I want to go do this, that. But instead, you have to just want to go out and get your job done.
yeah. Which, yeah, kind of touching on that schedule thing, a lot of people don't know you have to work Saturdays. You don't get, like, a whole lot of days off when you're a boss. I mean, yeah, there is going to be, when you get over that hump and you have employees and they can do all that, and on Saturdays, maybe you're just working from your phone at home, but, like, that's not for a while. Like that's you got to work to get to that point. And even when you're at that point, it's like every day you still got to do something, whether it's marketing or putting a proposal together or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's tying back to that last part about like how it is like how much you have to work and you have more free time. It's not until later in your business, even if ever, that you get that free time to go out and choose what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. For the first 10, 15, 20 years, you're 7 days a week. It's been a long time since I've had like a full weekend to myself to do what I want, how I want to do it. It's constantly work, and you have to sacrifice that and be willing to be okay with losing your weekends and losing time with your family and friends and technology, video games. Like you have to be able to lose all that if you want to grow your business.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have even experienced this, but I'll get stuff like that from people in my sphere where they're just like, man, or they'll even talk to my wife and be like, man, he has to like go record on Saturdays. Like that kind of sucks for you guys' like family. And, or just like, sometimes I go into work on Saturday and Sunday. Like that's just kind of how it is. And my wife's just like, well, it's because we're painting a bigger picture than what most people do.
Right.
Like we are focused more on what happens in 10 years, what happens in 15 years, like the skills you're going to learn running a business or doing with this podcast or whatever. A lot of people just don't understand that.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you have to be willing to sacrifice the now of the first 5, 10, 15 years of your life to benefit for you later on in life, for not only you or if you have kids. Like you have to be willing to sacrifice that so that you can have the life for them and yourself and your spouse for the rest of your life.
Yep. And it is not easy.
No, you got to pick your hard. You either live it hard now or you're going to live it hard when you're 40, 50 years old, still having to work, not being able to retire when you want.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Like, because that's how my mindset is too, is similar as yours, is I'd rather work hard now where my body I know can handle the load. I know, yes, my kids are still young enough to where they probably don't remember a lot of this beginning work that's going into place. But working at 50 years old, like I see these guys in the field at 50, 60, 70 years old. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I don't, my body already like wants to break down some days. I can't imagine being 70 and going out and working. Like that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
I have a question real quick. I'm interested to know. So you've mentioned marketing and advertisement. What are you doing to spread the word about your business? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Kind of tell us about that a little bit.
good question.
So, as of right now, with what we're doing, we're working on in the process of building a site, a website, so that when people look up rain gutters, people look at St. George rain gutters, that's going to pop up for us. Now, building a website is not easy at all, and so I've been using, like I said, my resources to try to help me get to where I need to get that. As of right now, as far as marketing, I've been building like flyers, and we're getting the process of getting signs up. And so this last week, delivering flyers, like even though I have jobs, we're delivering flyers, and I am out business cards, putting them in places people can see. I've had a few contracts I've been friends with and stuff, and I've had those out. So as far as marketing goes, it's signs, flyers, and in the near future, hopefully we're going to be working on getting like an ad in the radio, getting ad on Facebook, just throwing the ads out everywhere you can.
Yeah. Get the most eyes on it as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, marketing is a weird thing because you don't want to like, you almost get a little uncomfortable like pushing yourself and your message out there like that. Because it's uncomfortable to be like, hey guys, use me as this. I use my services here. This is my company, and like getting it out everywhere. But it's like you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to. There's no questions about it. Like as uncomfortable as it feels, doing that and forcing it through your social media friends or people in your neighborhoods, like you got to do it because you'll never know if you get that job or not unless you do it, and that's the big part about the marketing.
Yeah. Another question that I had, starting up your business, financials is a big thing. I know that you have probably got some help from your father-in-law where he had some of the material and equipment and all that kind of stuff up front. But how has that been for you as far as like starting up the business? Do you still have to work a W-2 job? Do you have to work, a second job part-time to like keep your lifestyle going? Because obviously just because you're taking 6 months to start a business, that doesn't mean your bills stop for 6 months. Yeah, you still got to pay them. So how's that been going?
So going into this business, me and her dad had a sit down, and the way he did his business in his day, he was a school teacher. So he'd work his hours as a school teacher, get the pros of his paychecks
The
there,
benefits?
his
Oh.
benefits there, and then the ring getters was just the bread and butter. So his job paid for his bills. Now running the business, you're doing 2, 3, 4 jobs after work, jobs on the weekends, and that's all the extra cash that you get to put in your own pockets. You either get to invest it, do stuff, and that's where like your money comes from, because your bills are taken care of on the side. And so through this whole process, he's preaching to me about keeping a job, one that has benefits, getting that to take care of your bills, so you don't have to worry about that, and then having this as your bread and butter. That's what you're gonna make. You spend whatever you want with it. It's your fun money.
Yeah.
Invest it, buy your fun stuff. Like, that's like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Now, my aspect on it, I would love nothing more than just to run the business, run the rain gutter side, run the leaf screen side or the leaf sifter side, and just take off with my own business. As of right now, I do work a job. So from usually, I worked a job. We went bankrupt. And so
That other company, not your company.
not my company.
What
The
you
other
were
company
for.
I work for went bankrupt.
Clarify.
Yeah. So they went bankrupt, but I was working. I'd work from 7 a.m. till about 2 p.m. at night, and then from there it was just rain gutter stuff, weekends, rain
Okay.
gutter stuff. And so from there I was getting my bills taken care of from my job, and then I was making all this other cash on the side to take care of whatever I wanted, whether I was doing savings vest, anything of that sort. And so as far as that goes, staying a job for a while until business actually picks up a lot more, where I can get more into the builders, more into that, where that they're constantly homes and I'm constantly putting rain gutters on their houses.
Yeah.
That will stay the same with the W-2. Near future, hopefully it's just rain gutters and leaf sifters. But it all depends on how much work I'm going to be able to put into it.
Yep. Well, and that's one of the differences, one of the pros and cons, and you touched about this earlier, is you don't get a check every 2 weeks. You get a check when you do a job.
Yeah.
So the marketing and stuff is critical, making sure your sales and your numbers are good and competitive so that you can get jobs, because you don't get paid unless the business gets paid.
Exactly.
And another thing is most people don't like realize when you put out a bid for, let's say, $2,000, that 2,000's not hitting your bank. Like, for some reason, people are always like, man, they're making so much money. Look how much is on this bid. And it's like, well, no, you got to buy materials. You got to pay labor. You need to budget some for marketing and sales and stuff like that. And so a lot of the time, people are like, man, owners are so rich. When you start running it, like, yes, you can make a decent profit, especially when you're doing the labor.
Yeah.
But other than that, a lot of the time, you don't profit a whole lot.
No, it definitely adds into it as far as like to 2,000. That adds in your materials, your gas to get to this job,
Yep.
your percent you take out for taxes, and the little bit to pay yourself. But then you want to reinvest as far as like marketing goes. You want to do tools. You want to do other things into your business. Like that also comes from that bid or other bids. Or so you're constantly reinvesting your money into your business.
Well, yeah, and even like, I don't know if you're at this point yet. I don't know if you're trying to get to this point, but if you own a shop, you're going to have bills with the shop, whether it's Wi-Fi or power or all the utilities, you know what I'm saying? So you got to keep all that going too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all ties into that.
Yeah. Especially if you break it down to, you've touched on it, how many hours you're putting into it, and the times where people are off the clock and you're still advertising, reaching out to people, working on Saturdays, and if you were to take that from what you bid and I guess work it as an hourly rate, it could get like a little discouraging.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely though.
Because, yeah, I've heard some business owners, they're like, dude, I'm making less than minimum wage.
Right.
Like, and it's just because you know the long term, like
Exactly.
what you're trying to do.
It looks good on that lump sum amount where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, we're doing 5 of these. That's $2,000. Like, okay, cool. But I'm working 19 hours, 18
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
sleeping about this stuff.
Yeah, when you really break it down, like definitely could get discouraging on how much you make compared to how much you work and how much you put back into it.
And that kind of goes back to the mindset deal. Like, you have to know, like, well, I'm doing this for the future, not for today.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta have that dog in you. Woof.
So
Mean dog.
another thing you touched on a little bit earlier, that you had the mindset of like, you need to go to school, you need to get a good job. Did you have to go back to school to start this business?
No. So I didn't have to go back to school. As of right now, I'm using my father-in-law's business license with the company. And so that's how I'm able to do all my business. Now, come October, you only need a certification for rain gutters. It's like rain gutters, siding, masonry, and glazing, I believe. That's the 4 things that you get approved for in this certification. Why the other things for rain gutters, couldn't tell you. But you go back, you take that certification, put your paperwork in, you put 20 hours of continuous knowledge, like going to classes and learning about all this stuff.
Oh, so it's kind of like trade school.
In a way, yeah. Putting 20 hours in, and after you're done with that 20 hours, you send your paperwork to the state, and there's your license right there. So it's not bad at all. Hardly any money going into it. And so it's not you're going $50,000 to go to school for it, or even trade school, depending on how much you're paying to go to trade school.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big benefit just getting the certification and going at it. And right now, I benefit hugely just running off my future father-in-laws.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just believe, oh, if I'm a business owner, I have to go to school or I have to do this. And it's dope to see people do it without doing all that extra stuff. Because your startup costs are way less if you can stay out of school, don't have to get a whole lot of certs, don't have to like do all that extra stuff.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I know that was a big thing with my mentor. He was telling me, because he went to school, he got his business degree and all that stuff. He's like, I learned more working underneath my mentor and my boss who was training me to be a business owner than I ever did in all the years I went to school to learn about business. Like, you need your hands on. You need to be in there learning more than school. For me, school, you want to be a dentist, doctor, and any of those required things that you have to get the degree for, great. But as far as other stuff, I feel like out in the field training or other stuff is a better way to go, in my own opinion.
Yeah. So do you think it's important to go to school if you're going to own a business or what?
My opinion, no. Depending on what
I
kind
like
of,
that.
I'm with you.
in the business, I don't think you need to go to school to learn how to do a business. I feel like along the way, you're going to learn building your business. You're going to learn the mistakes. You're going to learn pay this, pay that, taxes. Of course, you want to do your studies and to get your knowledge on how to do those things. But for me, I don't think you need to go to school to own a business.
Well, you learn a lot of it through the School of Hard Knocks. Just real on-the-job training. You mess up on a budget, and you feel it. So you're going to learn way faster than in a classroom.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're being told, you're learning, you're studying about mistakes that could cost you something. But when you actually lose that money, bro, that's seared into your brain. You're not thinking about that again or I guess you're not going to make that mistake again because you learned that the hard way and it came out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which is another difference between W-2 employees and a business owner. Because W-2 guys, they mess up and they're like, well, I guess I just won't do it again. But they don't actually see the consequences that it has all the way up the ladder.
Yes, exactly. I've seen dudes in my own work, I guess my old work, they'd mess up that $2,000 job, mess up completely. They had no shame on their shoulders. I guess I'll come back the next day and do it again.
Yeah.
My boss will cover this fee. Completely different. You mess up that kind of job at your own business, you're gonna feel it and you're gonna not want to do it again. I did it in the very beginning as I messed up a job twice. Out of that job, I ended up making $60 because of my mess up. And that didn't sit well with me.
And you probably put, like 12 hours into it or something like that.
Yeah, I put a decent amount of work into it just to make $60, and I can't say I'll make that mistake again.
Tank of gas. But it's also like people might think, oh, well, we'll just go back and finish it, or oh, we'll be back again. But that's time you're stealing away from future clients, from people that you could be visiting or doing anything to benefit your business. It's stealing away from that aspect.
Yeah, most definitely. It's like if I put a job off, I could get another job, and I got to put that job off. It's like when you get a job, you got to do it then and there. So when you get another call, you can do that job and then and there. You have to get after it.
Because, I've had guys, like, when they go to a warranty call and they're like, well, dude, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, yes, you can go do it, but that takes money out of the company. And then, like Gage is saying, it makes it so we can't get on to the next stuff. So it's just like, some people are like, oh, I get it. It's going to cost us another $150 to pay me to go out there for a couple more hours tomorrow. And I'm like, no, it costs you the $150 plus the advancement of other projects or other
Yeah,
jobs.
exactly.
And it's a weird deal when you switch to a business owner and you're like, it actually sucks to go back to a job 3, 4, 5 times when I could have done it in 2 or 1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Yeah, because well, working at when we all used to work together, I didn't really see that point of view until I moved up, and then it wasn't until one of our, I guess my coworkers, they had this threeplex that, that they had this amount of time to do it. Come on the day of inspections, we walked the house and like barely anything was done. So me, you, Ryan, Ruben had to go work on a Saturday, and then it was just like, okay, well, if they would have done this, then my time on this Saturday could have been put forth. Like I could have just had that day off if these guys would have just did their like what they were doing, and I could have just take this day off and just prepared for Monday.
Yep.
But instead, I'm using this time on this Saturday, plus I got to do this on Monday. Like, yeah, I see that point now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 4 homes. The first one was all right. Like, it was almost done.
Oh yeah, with the
Second
fourplex.
one was like, yeah. And then the last 2 were like barely touched. And so we ran through those 4 homes and got it done in the afternoon, or I guess a morning to the afternoon. And a funny story about that, we were mixing, and maybe I shouldn't say the story, but I'm going to share it anyway. So we were mixing on the job. So we would go out and take our water breaks, which was just mixing, and go back in, whatever. And then we got done with the 4 homes. And so we go out and we sit out there. And I'm like, hey, just make sure you guys like clock out, whatever, so that we'll just hang out, mix, and then we'll clock back in when we're driving back to the shop. So we're doing that. We're just hanging out there. And one of the boys got a call from his girlfriend or something like that. And he was like, oh, frick, bro, she's going to know. She's going to know. And so we're like, okay. So we grab drills. We grab all this stuff. And he gets on the phone. And all of a sudden, you just hear like a doof, doof, doof. Hey, man, can you pass me the screws?
Bro, we were all sitting down. I had the hammer, and I was sitting next to this wood post. And then I looked at Ryan, and Ryan's like, and I was like,
acting like we're in the middle of working when we're just mixing. But hopefully he doesn't get in trouble that we just told that story. But yeah, that was
exposed.
So going into the final section of the discussion, goals for the rain gutter business. Where do you see the business in 1, 3, 10 years from now? Have you mapped out a look ahead, or like what are you kind of thinking as far as goals go?
So, as far as goals go, within the next year, I want to be fully in with builders, Carefree Homes, S&S. I want to be in with these builders where they're building these homes and I'm taking care of their work. 3 years from now, and the 1 year plan, I'll probably still be doing it by myself. I'll be able to take care of these jobs and maybe have one other person with me. 3 years, I'd like to have a few people underneath me where they can take care of jobs, I can take care of jobs, and altogether just take care of more like business together. We'll be able to handle more. We'll be able to do the builders, and we'll be able to do the customers, the residential stuff of people who call in and want their stuff taken care of. And that goes as far as like leaf screens as well, as being able to put those on and be able to have people underneath me. And we're just taking on, really the goal is growing more employees to take more business on and increase the profits of what we're doing. And the 10-year goal, that's pretty much the same as having a lot more employees, 8, 10, 12 people underneath me, and take on as much business as we possibly can go.
Yeah. And you got to build a structure as you go. Because a lot of people are like, oh, just keep selling. But there's a lot of structure that goes into that. When you have 10 employees, it's a lot harder to run a business than when it's just you, because you can handle you.
Yeah, I mean, it's more taking care of the other people, being able to pay them and take care of their needs as well.
Yeah. And then having that like HR department where you got to like take care of, Johnny had a bad day, took the day off. So now you have to, make sure he's okay, but then also handle the business side of things. And hiring and firing is a little weird for a lot of people. Like I've had to fire people and it's uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, the W-2s will be different. That'll be definitely an interesting learning curve. and just all aspects of taking care of other people underneath me.
Yeah.
But as time goes, that's what I'm gonna be learning from the 1 to 3 years to 10 years.
Yep.
And by the time, hopefully, we're all set and going after it.
Yes, sir. My final kind of question is, what is your end goal? Are you trying to, work this thing till the day you want to retire, or are you trying to build it up for the next 5 years and then sell it? Because some people do that where they flip businesses. What are you kind of thinking?
End goal, I want to run this business as long as I can. Because I know I have the future step kid, and I want to hopefully bring him on. Because 10 years from now, he'll be 17. He'll be able to work his way through it and learn the stages of it, kind of as her father taught his son and brought him into the business. And he was able to have a successful business growing up into it. And that way, basically, I set him up for future success and being able to bring him and provide him with a career that can take care of him, and then he can take care of his family. He's like, this business will stay within the family for the remainder of everyone's life.
Dang.
So
That's
your-
dope.
Yeah, your stepson's 7 right now. Does he show any interest of what you do, and like, does he want to come to your job site and like see what you're gonna do and like things like that?
As of right now, 7, he's kind of being a kid. I know we have brought him on jobs before, and he does enjoy it. He does enjoy picking the stuff up, playing around the job sites, kind of getting familiar around it. Now, as he gets older, he'll get more in hand with it, and he'll be helping more is my goal. And hopefully he wants to take over and do it with us full time as he's growing up, having a job through high school, having a job through college, if he goes there. If not, taking it on with me and running the show. And so kind of prepping him to hopefully take over eventually.
Yeah. Well, those are like some key like core memories, right? Like going to work with dad, or even like working outside with dad. So I think those are huge for
Boy
him.
things, just
Yeah.
doing that type of
Yeah.
stuff.
No, I think it'd be huge. And he has cousins. He has 2 cousins. Hopefully, maybe they'll want to get on with it. Maybe they won't have a job throughout, but be able to basically provide them to take on the career as well. If they want to, join in and earn cash and get after it as well.
That's dope. And I hope all of your goals and ambitions come true, bro. I know it takes a lot of work, and as you said, it takes consistency and all that kind of stuff. So, for real, I wish nothing but the best for you, bro.
Thank you.
Before we end it, I have a couple questions that I want to ask just because I'm genuinely curious. But what has been the most uncomfortable thing for you as a business owner? Doesn't necessarily need to be emotionally, or like, is it reaching out to clients, promoting yourself? Like, what has been the most uncomfortable?
Most uncomfortable is, there's probably 2 things. Finding the clientele has been uncomfortable and the hardest part. It's starting.
Yeah.
Already had the tools and everything to do the business, but trying to find the business, from going from like learning about business to doing it, it's like just completely different. Like now I'm hands on. Now I got to learn how to bring my business in.
Yep.
And so that's been the difficult part. That's the hardest part, finding the values of the other people. Because her dad's been out of the business for 3 years. He got back into it, trying to find the same prices as other people are charging. So we're not overcharging, we're not undercharging, and finding the market of where the people want the business.
Sure.
And so that's been a difficult part. Working all the time. I'm not talking about like no weekends. Like it's like the amount of work that comes along with it. It's like that's completely different. Because before I was doing my W-2 job where I was working certain hours and had my weekends off. Great time. I hang out with the family, go do what I want when I wanted. But now that's a whole different where it's like, oh, I got to work Saturday. All right, well, we'll take care of it. I can't do so much. Or I got to work Sunday. Got to do that. Take care of that. So that's been a completely different change and shift in owning a business to working for a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 more questions. So the next one is, what is something that you expected to not necessarily come easy, or something that you thought you'd be good at when you were first starting off that surprised you that it took more work than you thought?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Back to that, finding clientele. Like going into the business, I thought it was going to be the bee's knees. I was like, I'm going to own this. I'm going to take over, and the industry's mine. And going and trying to find the clientele, I'm like, holy cow, like this is
A
different.
lot harder than you thought.
How the heck do you do this? And that's where her dad's helped me a ton,
Nice.
bringing that in and stuff. But like that was like, right then, I was like, took me off guard. Like I gotta really like learn how to do this better. Like
Gotta
really
hustle.
get after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, bro, go ahead and plug yourself. How can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you if they're interested?
As of right now, since we don't have, I do have social media.
Okay.
I post a lot of my stuff on Facebook at Kyson Sertonio. Phone number 435-632-5096, if I can remember correctly. But those are the real reasons or the resources to get to me right now. Hopefully soon we'll have an internet page where people can just look my name up at the rain gutter specialist and be able to see me there. But as of right now, that's how people can get in contact with me for business.
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Sweet.
And then, sorry, one last question. We've asked this with previous special guests about starting their own company, doing whatever they're doing. What is the best advice that you've been given? Because you said that your father-in-law was your mentor. He was the one that led you up to the point that you're at right now. So what was the best advice that he's given you or your other mentor has given you? And what advice do you have for others that thinking about?
Back to early conversation, just like the slides, just small steps, like continue to work at what you do every single day and stay disciplined to it, because motivation won't always be there. And the motivation isn't there, the discipline has to be there.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
sir.
major.
Hallelujah. And so just constantly getting after it every single day. Even when you don't want to, you wake up, you're tired, you're exhausted, your body hurts, and you just want to lay in bed. Get up and get after it.
Yeah.
like that.
Like that.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, let's take our last cup and we'll hit this outro real quick. So, again, Kyson, just want to say thank you for coming on, man. I know this is probably your first podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
First one.
Big ups.
So, I know that it's a little uncomfortable, but we appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for having me on here. It was interesting to talk about it, interesting to share my side of business. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah. But yeah, it takes a different level of confidence have to be able to speak your game and what you're thinking. So, again, we appreciate you coming. So, all you muddy rooters, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining us. Please make sure to leave a like, a comment. Let us know what you guys think about Kyson's business. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week. Appreciate you guys.
All right.